In this video, we are going to write a code which will permit us to convert our invoice to a PDF and save it in our documents, the documents in our computer. So we are going to make a check. We want to make it optional, like after you validate the invoice, you have the option to either print it out or to either convert it to PDF or not. So let me give a description to this, a code to convert the invoice to PDF and save it in the machine. So that was just a description or a comment. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make a check. I'm going to say if message box, meaning because I want that a message should appear to ask us to validate whether we want to print or not. So I'm going to say if message box, so I open bracket, I'm going to make a check saying that do you want to print and save your invoice in PDF. So in PDF, so I put here a question mark. So it's actually a question. Do you want to do this? So I'm going to, after the message, I'm going to add a button, just like we saw in the first videos in our VBAs. I'm going to say a VBA yes, VBA yes, no, meaning this is the button I'm going to be adding. So this is surely I forgot to put to close my bracket. So inverted commas close, then I put a comma. So I'm going to say VB. I have the possibility to choose between numerous types of buttons, but I'm going to use a VB yes no. So this is what I'm going to use. So and I equally want it to have an icon called question. So I'm going to put the title which is going to be, because here we're at the level of the title. After the button we can put the title, and I want the title to be questionnaire or inquiry, anything. So if I say, for example, questionnaire, so when I'm done with this, I close bracket. Okay, so if this message box appears and the answer, meaning and I click on VB yes. So if this message box appear and for the button, because I said the button should be yes or no, and the answer is equal to yes, VB yes, then, so this is a check I'm making, then I would like that it should convert it into PDF. So should, in case it is yes, it should convert it into PDF. So for me to convert it into PDF, I'm going to say sheets. I'm going to say sheets invoice. So it should convert sheet invoice. Sheet invoice, I close bracket, sheet invoice dot. So this is the syntax we are going to use. Export as fixed as fixed format. So we're going to use this syntax, export as fixed format. But before we get to that, I'll go back to my Excel sheet, and I'm going to design a print area. We saw in the previous video how to create a print area. A print area, meaning since this worksheet is large, we're going to design an area which can be printed. So my print area is going to be all this our worksheet. So this is going to be our print area. I come on page layout, then I select this as, I set this as the print area. So this is the area that it is going to be printing. So from year to year. So if I select, for example, the print area, sorry, let me do it back. I select the whole of this area and I set it as the print area. Okay, so this is going to be our print area. So I come back to the code and I continue with the code. So I don't want the code to continue just to be going this long. So for me to skip a line or to jump and to continue on the next line, I'm going to put dash like this. So this dash permits me to get to the next line to continue with my code. So I'm going to say text. So the text should be in a in a in a PDF type. So I'll take comma. It should be in a PDF type, and the file name where it should keep the, I'm going to design the file name, the file name where the invoice should go and the stock in our computer. So I'm going to say file name. I'm going to say file name to be equal to, meaning where it is going to keep our invoice when it will convert it to PDF. Where should it keep it? So I'll go to my documents. I'll go to my documents and I'll create a new folder and I'll call it stock for invoices, and I enter inside and I'll create another document here inside to be invoices, and I enter inside equally. Then I want to copy the link to arrive here. To arrive here, I'm going to click at the level of the document. So this is the name, or this is the trace to get to this area. I copy this link and I come back to my Excel. So this is what I'm going to put here. So the file is going to save in drive C, user, document, stock, and so on. So this, I'm going to put it in inverted commas, open and close. I'll put it in inverted commas, open and close. And the file name is going to be saved in this area. Then it should be attached, or the file name itself, the name it is going to be saved. I'm going to say, and I'm going to give the place where it is going to be saved and the name, how it should be named. So I'm going to say it should be named according to the invoice number, and the invoice number here is in D3, in D4, but I would like it to equally take into consideration the customer. So what I can do is that I'm going to say here in my code, and the sheets invoice sheets invoice dot range, where the customer's name is located is in G7. So the I close the bracket. So dot value, and so it should do this, and give a dash. So the invoice, the name of the invoice, like the file name, is going to be the customer's name, and equally the invoice number. So but I don't want to mix the file name and the invoice number together just like that, so I'm going to add a dash between them, and I will now put the invoice number, and the invoice number, I'll copy this and the invoice number is located in D4, in D4. The invoice number is located in D4, so I'm going to do this dot value. So I'll continue the code down, but before that I put a comma. I'm going to put a dash to continue the code down. So I want that when it converts into PDF, it should open it for me to see, like it's going to pop up. The PDF is going to pop up for me to see it. So I'm going to say open after publish. So I'm going to say open after publish. So after I publish it into PDF, it should open it. Open after publish is going to be true, equals to true. So this is the procedure to save this. Okay, there is a problem here. So here is sheets. Okay, so we're going to try and run the code to see whether it's going to give. Here there's an error. Sorry, I made a mistake. Here is supposed to be type, the document type. The document type is going to be the Excel type PDF. So if I run this code, the type is not well written. Okay, sorry, the type should be equal to. Okay, so another error. Okay, so here an inverted commas clause is missing here. So I'm going to check this out. So the problem is surely here I didn't put the space here. Okay, so let's try this out. Let's go to our Excel sheet and then let's try this. Okay, I didn't put the end. If I started with an if here without ending, without putting an end if, so what is going to happen here is that should in case the value is yes, it should convert into PDF with this operator. Else, meaning should in case it is no, I'm going to say else. Should in case it's no, should in case the answer is no, what should happen? It should just do nothing. Should in case the answer is no, nothing should happen, right? So I'm just going to put um a comment here, do nothing. So the code will just continue in emptying the content and doing the rest of the things. So should in case it is yes, it should convert to PDF. Should in case it is no, it should do nothing and it should continue with the code. So I'll equally like I've not ended the code, so I'm going to put end if. Okay, so I'll equally like to automatically save my worksheet after everything, after the code is being written, after it converts it into PDF, so that I should not be losing data. So to automatically save in Excel, you can use a syntax called this workbook.save. This workbook dot save. Okay, so it will automatically save the workbook. So from here, let me go and try our code. So let me start by stopping everything, like to refresh. I get to the code. So please enter information in the invoice. So if I enter information in the invoice and I click on validate, they'll ask me, do you want to print and save your invoice? If I take no, it will just continue with the code and send it to the sales track. But if there is information here and I click on validate, do you want to do this, and I click on yes, it's going to convert it first into PDF. So can you see it is publishing it into PDF, and you can see it's bringing it here, and so this is it that it has converted into PDF. And you can see when I will get back to my Excel sheet, it has deleted everything and gone to the next page. So it's just a print area that was not well set. That is why in our invoice here, it just stops at the level of the quantity. So we could actually set it in such a way that it should contain everything. So I'm going to set it once more, the print area. So I'll start by clearing the existing one and I'll set a new one. I could make the orientation of the page to be like this so that it can contain everything. Okay, let's try it out again. I'm going to select this print and I say yes. So you see it will convert it into PDF and everything is here. Our sales invoice is perfectly here. And if we go to our documents, you will realize that all the invoices are being kept here based on the invoice number, the customer, and the customer's name and the invoice number. So this document that we created is just there to help us get a name for our invoice number. So every invoice is going to be saved in the document, so we can always get back to it. And verify what was sold to our customers. So basically that is it for this training. That is it for this video. we could be able to create an invoice which is responsive and very automatic. We can see everything here is just okay. When you validate your invoice, it goes to the sales track and your stock card is automatically there in your invoice. The invoice number is changing. And that is it for this video. Make sure you have a worksheet in front of you where you're practicing all what I've been doing, so that in the exams which are going to follow, you can be able to give responses. So thank you, and thank you for watching. When you pass your exam, you're going to directly collect or download your certificate from the platform. Thank you very much.